Mr. Peterson?
The one area that the RV park is sorely lacking is for computer service for all of their units. We currently are working with a internet service that is a pay-for subscription when they come in. Unfortunately, it only reaches roughly 40 to 50% of the units, so therefore it's not really adequate for what we need. What we are proposing is to put up 8 different areas of service, as well as the ability for us to monitor everybody that comes in to the RV park. They will all receive, when they check in, it will be included in their fee. So we've also done a proposal as far as, or we will be raising the rates to adjust for their using the internet. What it gives us the ability to do is give everybody good service, as well as monitor everybody that links into our internet. In other words, they come in, they will be given a code, and it will be good only as long as their reservation is. In other words, and they will be monitored. The only way they can get in is with that code. With the rate increase, it will be a net increase just like what we have. Probably about 15% as far as our revenue with our existing occupancy. But we also feel like it should increase our occupancy for our RV park, since that is the weak spot we have. Does that explain what you need? It is roughly $15,845 for the whole service. Now, with our current subscription, we have already made roughly $8,000 to go toward this. That's been paid in the last year with what we're using. I think if, based on the projections I did, with the increased rate, it will make us roughly $35,000 more to pay for it. So it's looking at a payback of roughly less than 8 months. So it should pay for itself really easily.
I know about 2 years ago when the Rio Grande raised their rates, I believe that's when the amenities were the pool from the RV, the television, there was
Yeah.
the. So with this, I know that it's compensating for the internet, which I think is great, because I think people need, who wants to just stare at each other in a box? I mean,
Yeah.
but are we gonna have still a problem with the electricity?
No.
Because we never really recouped because they did a pretty good hike on that.
Well, it's the rates that Kurt said, we pretty much told everybody and went to all the other 5 RV parks around. We're still probably one of the lowest. The thing it does allow, it will probably allow at least 2 or 5 appliances to hook up to the internet. So in other words, they can stream TV at the same time. So it gives them the TV service also. So it works out as a better deal than what they're paying now.
Okay, Net Pro One cost for the RV location, which includes routers, radio antenna, battery backups, outdoor boxes for the poles, programming and installation of the hardware, support per month for Wi-Fi, and 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. phone support, 94 on-site monthly with Internet Max, 78 sites, minimum 30 max, 400 megabyte usage. And the cost for that, including tax, is $15,845.15. And considering that projected revenue with 20% increase overall is projected to be $240,727. It's going to pay for itself, as Mr. Peterson said.
Now, the one additional cost, there will always be a usage fee.
Usage fee, of course.
And we did schedule of fees based on the occupancy. And You know, if we're only running 10%, it may be $3, but the average cost per unit will be $1 a day. And that's good for us. We'll make it much more.
That is one of the biggest complaints we get about our RV park, is there's no internet service. And people have been known to leave, or not reserve, so this should take care of the problem. And this is another in preparation for 2024, when the sun goes behind, when the moon goes in front of the sun. Okay. Okay, comments from the board, please. Justin?
I have none.
Brianna?
Here it is.
Okay, I have none as well. Anything from the members? Okay, all right, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve in a second, all in favor? Okay, 4 approving, 1 not present. Okay, more computer stuff.
Okay, the next one is for the upgrade in computers for this area of the office, as well as, and the first one are the computers. We have 7 computers still left that are running Windows 7, which will no longer be supported after January 14th of this year, which opens it to all sorts of, and I gave a separate explanation that just tells exactly what it could do to us. We have pretty much picked out every office to make sure that every computer we have is needed. And as we went through, I think we've got 3 that we will no longer be using that are linked up to our network. But we still have 6 or 8, and I've given a list of all the ones that have to be replaced, that are still using Windows 7 or Windows 8, which are open to any, and this is a security issue as far as the internet. So the computers come to $5,187.34. Now that will be in 6 installments, just like our last one. We just finished off paying off the others, so this would basically take off where that went and pay on our monthly payments like we were already doing.
Okay, is NetPro also doing this interest-free?
Yes.
So there'll be no interest on the, well,
Right, does this,
For 6 months.
for 6 months, yes, does 5187.34 include the installation and imaging?
Yes.
Awesome.
that's tremendous. Some of the issues that came up, security network cannot be guaranteed with older operating systems running on it for viruses. For security patches, updates cannot be done. Security maintenance updates on the server are needed to secure the information that you have of the members' private information on the black system, which is old DOS, and would recommend that this would be maintained on a monthly basis, as this was canceled in January 2020, and the security of the server at this time was vulnerable. Updates on the physical network hardware. All hardware must be secured to help with all troubleshooting and physical layer security to reduce the liability to Fort Clark. Update to the Wi-Fi network. As of today, there are many people that are connected to the network without authorization, as the system would need to be updated to change the passwords anyway to keep unwanted users off the network, which is also a security risk at Fort Clark. The upgrade of the Wi-Fi network would allow easy access to change password on a regular basis to keep any employee from sharing it out to unwanted users.
That's the next.
And that, yes, I thought I'd just read it all off at one time. Okay, no, we are doing the computers only for $5,187.34, including setup. And Dustin, any
I
comments?
have none.
Brianna?
It shouldn't even affect the financials, since we're just picking up where we left off.
Yes.
So we're already used to the payment, so.
Yes. Bill? Way down there.
Well, as computer literate as I am not, I am basing my vote on the census consent of, not the consent, what's the word I want?
Expertise.
That's good. The expertise of the people here, and I will base my vote on that.
Okay. Any comments from the members?
I just have a question, if I may, okay. Does that-
Identify yourself, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kathleen Warren. Hi. Does that price include them erasing all the hard drive and everything, and what happens with the older
That's a
computers?
good question.
The hard drives get taken out, and if you want them for targets at the driving, at the gun range, that's fine, we destroy them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments?
Yes,
Come on.
is the NetPro gonna provide the internet service? Or the computers as well?
Well, they're already providing the internet
Yeah.
service.
Okay,
That's the
they're
next one.
providing the
This is-
service,
That's the
but,
next
This
one,
is just for the computers.
yeah.
okay. So then, the computer, my question is it going through the gentleman who runs the NetPro?
No,
We're purchasing
we're
Dell.
purchasing hardware from him. NetPro provides the internet service, but the actual information here runs through our servers here.
Okay, so then it's gonna be new computers, actual desktops?
Yes.
Okay, are they going through Dell, through Apple?
Dell.
Yeah,
Dell.
They're
So
Dell.
Dell from Austin is gonna be providing the computers for us?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
They'll be shipped here. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3?
Phyllis Kelvin, my question is, why aren't we leasing these when you can upgrade, every 4 years instead of buying?
It's cheaper to buy, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is cheaper to buy.
Is it?
Yes,
Okay.
if you lease them, it costs quite a bit of money to lease them, but then you also pay for maintenance and all that. And honestly, today, computers
throw 'em away.
they're pretty robust.
The biggest issue is having support, which we had, which was canceled, but this is another, it's coming in, we'll have support also.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, that's 3. Okay, any more questions, comments from the board? Okay, you have a motion?
I'll move to approve the proposal.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Are you in favor, Dustin?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's 4 with 1 absent. Okay, next is consider approval of IT system upgrades and support. Alan?
And this will be the final area. We have a server here that we're using, relatively new. It is very unsecure in our back closet. If anybody been by my office, it's right across the hall. We have secured it to a certain extent, but what we're looking at doing, pretty much what you do everywhere, is have a locked cabinet where it is kept in that cabinet, as well as 3 locked small cabinets. There will be wall cabinets, will be kept at the front desk, the RV park, and the golf pro shop. One of the areas we have is when people are allowed to get in, where the plugs are and everything, that next thing you know, we get a call that this is not working. But when we get a network, but we're leaving our servers open, it's a security risk. Just physically a security risk. So we want these 3 cabinets will be mounted in those 3 areas, as well as the enclosure and the glass, and will be in the main server office across from the hall, which we're also putting a door in and putting a lock and key on that. So we're trying to keep everything there. That's the small one. Now, the next one is the vintage shelf and the 42 rack enclosure server, which is for the basic system like we're talking about here, that we have no ability to get internet services because everything's roughly 8 years old. This is to upgrade everything in this building for servers so that we have internet in this building as well as our servers are linked a little bit. This is where it's even past me, but it will get the service that when we want to screen or show online here, it updates all the servers in this building. Actually, that's only, the cost is $2,046 for that. or $6,493.48, which the cost of that is only $2,683, not the $6,000. And the last thing will be for this is something that was done before for $1,250, was the monitoring of our whole computer service and the service and the backup from NetPro, which is $1,100 a month. One of our big issues that we just had this last month was the fact that when the contract was canceled last year, we were still using CSI. Although nobody knew that they were charging us per call, and the calls did not come through us, it was charged to NetPro. So we had roughly $6,000 in expenses this last month of calls that were charged to him, but were our calls. Because we had canceled our CSI contract for $1,250. So it came back to bite us a little bit more. They've actually been probably providing us a little bit more service than they had, but they do want the contract. I think it's probably, they were the conduit to CSI anyway. CSI would call them to do the work. So in other words, rather than going through CSI, we would be going through NetPro and paying basically $150 less a month.
Is this contract for how long?
That'd be yearly.
Yearly? So it'll be picked up, like, so if we approve this, it'll be picked up this, like February 1st, so then, okay.
Okay, this was, we didn't really actually find much information on this, but it was canceled sometime in January 2020, which left us vulnerable. So, something we have to do. Took care of part of it earlier, this is the last part of it, should be. The rack mount wall cabinet enclosure and installation is $861.29. The 42-unit rack enclosure server cabinet with doors and sides, vented shelf, labor, $2,046. And the Meraki switches, 24-port PoE switch, indoor Wi-Fi, outdoor Wi-Fi, and labor is $6,493.48. Total cost of those three, $9,355.23. The management service, which includes fully managed servers, fully managed virtual servers, fully managed firewalls, fully managed backups, fully managed network divides, and fully managed workstations and mobile devices. That's the charge of $1,100 a month, once all of the equipment is installed. And a onboarding one-time charge of $900 with a 36-month contract. We were given some additional information on workstations, infrastructure, service levels, and so forth with NetPro. Pages of it, so I'm not going to read all those to you, but it's something we have to do. We don't want our information out there, either our employee information, or membership information, or our financial information, so working hard to protect that.
The one thing this also does is it gives us the ability to monitor everybody that's on our network. And that means we can knock them off if we see them. It gives us the same ability here with the motel as it does with the RV park, as far as giving them a subscription that they can use it. Because right now, we have a whole lot of people using our network that should not be on it. And I've seen that, in fact, and I would imagine that comes from many years of giving out the password. That's whether it's, we have 3 networks. We have a guest network. We have the Fort Clark Springs network, which pretty much runs all of our area. And those are the ones that have people throughout the fort, because that network goes through all of our our other areas, and that's what we have to limit the access to those.
Right, I have a couple of questions. Two of these sheets have handwritten notes on them.
Yes. Well, we're negotiating to get the price down
Okay.
on that.
Okay, so my other one is on the NetPro managed IT pricing schedule here. We have one fully managed server, one fully managed virtual server, one fully managed firewall, one fully managed backups, 0 fully managed network devices, which would be external wireless devices, I'm assuming iPads,
Right.
laptops, things of that nature. And I have a hole punched in it, but it looks like 0 fully managed mobile devices, which would be
We don't have any.
Phones.
right phones, which we don't provide. Okay. And then 20 workstations covers all of the
That's-
property.
And that's knocked down from 23 that we did have.
Right.
And we will still have some computers around, so that if people guests need to get on the internet, but they will not be hooked up to our server.
Right, so we're looking at basically a wall cabinet that will house the 42 rack server enclosure. Is that a
Right.
separate
It's
cabinet?
it's right next to it, right?
Okay,
Now, there are 6 routers in this building, and they will all be replaced and updated. So that will give us the better service. They're about 8, those are the ones that are 8 years old, and that's part of this also.
fantastic.
Good, and that should knock everybody off that should be on there.
That's, yeah, I mean, we're talking hundreds.
I know.
So will you be able to change that, like on it, like
We
quarterly?
can change it anytime
Okay.
we want.
So
Daily,
whenever,
hourly.
if you lose an
And everybody
employee,
that checks in the motel will get their individual password that will be good for their stay, and that's it,
and that's like a normal motel.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and all employees will have their own, and when employees leave now, although I'm not aware of any problems, but as with any other corporate business,
Yeah.
as soon as they leave, their passwords.
And really, everything is going toward more cloud-based, which is more secure. We're just not to that level yet, so we're probably still looking for at least 1 to 2 years that we have to use that server, but that's because of the black system.
Yes.
We are stuck to that until we can wean ourselves away from that.
That's old DOS, in case you want to.
Yeah. And just a little bit of detail for those who are a little more computer literate. This is, what we're talking about here is a completely managed IT system for Fort Clark. So some of the things that'll come with this are, we'll have full monitoring of our hard drive space. We'll get full patch compliance for safety patches, security patches, and of course any remote devices, that's included. The IT manager, which will be NetPro 1, will keep a full asset of our inventory for all of our IT devices. Hard drive dies and needs replacement and rebuild. If there's a problem, the diagnosis of any problems we have is covered. Rebuild of the workstations is covered. Replacement of parts, of course, is warranty, but that's standard with any IT. Workstation end user down and unproductive during business hours is covered with a 2-hour response time during business hours. If a workstation is not working, they will be here within 2 hours to get it back up and running. They're going to keep a regular communication status report of all of our workstations every 4 hours, around the clock. Of course, they will cover it also as application patch upgrades for any of the apps that we use to make sure we have the latest versions of them. Major reconfigures will be billable, but that's standard. Moves and changes for workstations is covered, so if we need to move offices or computers, they will show up and do it, and that's covered in our monthly coverage. Virus, spyware, infected workstation, if we get somehow a security breach in there, they will come cover that, that's covered as part of it. Of course, the operating systems and patch management is covered. As far as our servers and network, management of the directories and network settings is all covered by them. Administration of Exchange and email systems is covered. Antivirus console covered. Moves, add-ons, changes for server and network settings is all covered. Backup error remediation is covered. And I mean, it's a great thing. They take care of us. If something breaks, they come fix it. So that's pretty tough to beat.
In summary, this helps move us into the 21st century, computer-wise. Gives us a lot of protection. It's been a while. Okay, any other comments? Bill?
No.
Okay, comments. Number one,
Yes,
stand and identify yourself.
Helena McBride. I'm just curious, I didn't get the name of the company. Did you say Next Pro?
That one.
Net Pro.
One.
Yes.
And where do they come from?
Fredericksburg is their home office.
So
They're actually out of Iowa.
they're guaranteeing 2 hours to get here.
They do all the city and the counties.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah,
that's
that
why
helps.
it's,
Yeah.
They're here all the time. In fact, he is
he
on,
has a house here.
They live here.
they live here.
Yeah, oh, that's great.
Chad has a place here.
That's good. The other thing was who gets the main passwords? I mean, I'm assuming, you know, Alan, of course, but how are you gonna do that?
Probably in the accounting.
Right now,
It-
Chad has the main
Yeah,
password.
Chad's gonna
Chad
be,
keeps
he's
that.
gonna be the, you know,
Bookkeeper.
Net Pro will be the people that control that.
We'll get to
I
it.
don't need access to that.
They have to work out that once the equipment's installed,
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have to work it out.
I mean, I'll have access to see who's on the
Right.
computer,
yeah.
but as far as being the, running the whole system, that would be Net Pro.
When up and running? When will it be open?
When is do you have an installation date?
Probably 2 weeks.
Probably 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Memo.
The new computers can be here within a week.
My concern is, because I'm familiar with Net Pro, is, number one, was there bids put out to other companies?
No,
Second question, I know, my experience with Net Pro has been that they have monopolized Kenny County. City and county, the county and city, and now they've been here with us for a while. But I was more curious as to why there was not bids up put up for other companies.
you have any other companies in mind?
Well, the bid has to go up publicly, that's what I'm asking.
They
No.
have so much equipment and, invested here that it would be hard.
I think the issue is not really the fact that, I mean, I know for a fact that the price is in line with pretty much anywhere else. So therefore you go, okay, who's gonna give the service? And we have extremely good reputation with him for service. So therefore, it was pretty much, okay,
That would be very expensive if we did every other year, try to, because then they would have to gather all their hardware and then bring a whole other, that would be very expensive, I would think.
And keep in mind, as a non-governmental entity, we are not required to submit bids, put bids out publicly. That's
I guess
not
my concern
required.
is the monopoly, they got total control of the situation.
In a way, the thing is that he is here, they're also working on the 911 area network down here as well.
and they also control our phone service.
And yes, and the thing is they're here, and I'm not worried too much about a monopoly, because my experience is it's very difficult to get bids from other companies to come to our area.
Right, pretty much everybody that services anything around here has the monopoly. AT&T has the
Well,
cell
look at
service
Rio
monopoly.
Grande,
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is a small place and there's not a whole lot of infrastructure, so it kind of is what it is. We get what we can get, and he does us a good job.
Yes,
He really does.
doesn't charge interest on any of this stuff with all other companies that
And
do.
the other bid we had was from CSI.
Yes.
That was $12.50 a month. And they called him to do the work.
Yeah.
So, figure that one out.
They're a
And when
middleman.
you're in an area,
They're an
rural
agent,
area like
that's
this,
at
it's not
10%.
uncommon for one particular company to be involved in your area. Okay, that's 3, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go on. Okay, the total for for the 3 different, hard equipment, $9,355.23, and then the $1,100 a month for the $900 initial installation programming. Do we have a motion?
I would just like to ask Alan one question. What
Sure.
is the anticipated payoff for this package, roughly?
I don't know where you're gonna get a payoff from the support package.
Right,
Because we're not making any additional money.
right.
on
But what's
it.
the loan terms on it? How long are we gonna be paying on it?
Oh, this is cash, this is it,
Okay,
and then there's the support, and that's all.
all right. Good enough for me.
And remember, the computers are gonna be paid out on time without interest.
Well, and if we do this every 6 months, then we shouldn't be running into the problem where we get, if every year.
Shouldn't be doing this at all.
At all after
No,
this.
this sets
Yeah,
you
this is a
probably
full
for the
support.
next. The only other additional
Like
IT
new computers.
issues, the only other additional IT issues you will have is when we hook up point of sale or a front office system or something that, property management system for our exterior. And now that's where I'm working on a lot of bids, as far as, reservations and front office systems for the hotel, RV park, and for the golf course, as well as working for our food and beverage outlets when they open. And I'm working with at least 7 companies with that, as well as 2 other ones that are working for HOA management to replace the black system.
Right, and to your point about the computers basically being disposable, when you have a full-service IT system, it prolongs the life of our workstations years and years, because now there's constant security upgrades, and they'll go through and delete processes and programs that we don't need. So instead of replacing workstations every 2 years, now we might not have to replace them every 5 years.
Now that computer costs are coming down.
Yeah, boy.
They come down every year as far as maybe the same price, but more powerful. And leasing doesn't help the cost on that. They do last a lot longer than they intended to. Okay, we'll go back to motion. Anybody?
I move to approve as proposed.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, all 4 with 1 absent. Okay, we're gonna take a short break. It's a little bit after 11. Give all coffee drinkers a break. Before we go on to the next item. It is 11:03. Temporarily adjourned. No more than 10 minutes.
Computer expert.
When you come back.
Yes.
I just ordered some.
We all are.